What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title called Dreadstone Keep. This is a little tiny roguelike that released with absolutely zero fanfare. I think it's sitting around with like 5 reviews on Steam right now, which means obviously most people missed it. I've been playing around with it for about an hour, and I think it has some interesting takes on classic Berlin-style roguelikes, so long as you don't mind the fact that this game is almost entirely focused on being a streamlined experience. So this is not going to be a game that has the level of depth and complexity of something like Caves of Qud. This is a pure dungeon-crawling hack-and-slash roguelike in which you're trying to go as far as you can while stacking roguelite-style buffs to give yourself little advantages when it comes to the Into the Breach-style gameplay. We're going to play around with the game today for about 30 minutes. I have collected my thoughts. I've got them kind of jotted down right now, the things that I'd like to see from this game, because I think that it's close, but it's not quite there. I'm making concessions right now with my video coverage, just because we are crazy dead around the holiday season at the moment. But I do think there's actually like a little nougaty center with this game that works, and I don't think that the problems that the game has are structural. In fact, I think they should be able to be easily patched just with some love and touch and squeezing quality of life. So if after watching this video you wanted to get the game for yourself, I got a link for you down below in the description that'll take you to the Dreadstone Keep Steam page. This game is not in early access, but the developer has mentioned on a couple of threads that he's receptive to adding more stuff to the game. But for the moment, check that link out. On top of that, there's a bunch of other Nerd Castle links down there that are candy-coated and ready to be consumed. But let's go ahead and play the game. Very simple startup in this title. You re-roll your character until you've got one that looks like what you want him to look like, and also starts out with the weapon that you want him to have. Right now, there's only daggers and axes inside of the game. I think it's going to need a lot more weapons before it would be one of those games that I fully vouch for, but this guy's got a sai right here. The only real difference that you're going to be looking for here at the beginning of the game is that the daggers, they play a little bit differently from the axes. Not that much differently, but since all of my practice has been with daggers, I'm going to go ahead and take those. So at the beginning of the game, we start out on the edge of the Dreadstone Keep. It's always going to make you go through here and destroy the targeting dummies. I don't know what evil overlord keeps targeting dummies on the overall bridge that enters his domain, but they're always there. They must have some kind of staff or something that replaces them whenever they get destroyed, and into the castle we go. Now, on a surface level, this game is very incredibly simple. You move around using the arrow keys. You have abilities on the left-hand side of the screen, namely the ability to throw your dagger, which will do an equal amount of damage to a melee attack. Then from there, you've also got a dash that allows you to traverse a little bit more quickly. In this game, whenever you move, everything else moves as well, which means this is a game about kind of looking at the room and contemplating the way that you're going to move through it, the way that you're going to glide through it, when am I going to throw my weapon, when am I going to stab with my weapon, and when am I going to take return fire, because that attrition does stack up as you get further on into the dungeon. So in this situation right here, there would be no way for me to move forward without the skeleton getting a free hit on me. Likewise, if I move upwards, that skeleton that's to the north of us is going to move towards us, and there's a solid chance that the skeleton to our left, he's just going to move vertically and block me off, thus making my situation even more untenable. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to throw my daggers at him till he dies, then I'm going to use my dash to get on through, re-grab my daggers. Now, when attacking the enemy in melee, with daggers you get 2 melee attacks. So factor that in as well, that I get 2 1-damage attacks on the enemy before they get to take their turn. And that's pretty much the entire game right there. Like I said, this entire title is built for absolute simplicity and how fast you can play through it. There are breakables inside of the rooms. They will sometimes drop gold. They will sometimes drop potions or ghost potions that will actually turn one of your HPs into an armored HP. That way you can soak a hit without anything too terrible happening. This room, we've got bats that we're going to have to deal with. I'm going to move over to here. I'm going to double throw daggers on that bat right there. I'm going to dash to grab my daggers, but bats have a special mechanic where they ignore furniture and things that are blocking the ground, so they can fly over the top of tables, they can fly over the top of chairs, they can fly over the top of water channels, which means that you've got to factor that into your decision-making process when you're trying to figure out how you want to take down the winged vermin. Doesn't look like there's anything breakable inside of this room, so I'm just going to cut south and we'll see what's inside of here. This guy's trapped, and interestingly enough, most AIs in this game do not have the ability or the intelligence to break barrels and crates. However, we can't get out of this room until we break this stuff, and so I'm going to break it down right there, and then I'm going to step over to this side. I don't know what I want to do with this sledgehammer guy, but I know that I definitely don't want him to hit me, and so actually I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to move. Oh, he might be making it easy on me right here. Okay, well, let's throw some daggers at him. And then I'm going to dash southwards, but I can't do that with a half a turn left. I'm going to wait for him to come back this way. There's a solid chance that I'm going to get smacked right here. And so we're going to do the dance until my cooldown comes back up. And so with him right there, I actually don't think there's a lot of ways that I can get myself out of this without taking a hit. So I'm just going to punch him to death. There we go. He's now dead. Instead of just kind of conga lining all over the place and being blocked off, we might as well finish it off the simple way. With fisticuffs, ye oldie classical way of annihilating your enemies, preferably with a mustache. I think that punching guys while having a mustache is far more efficient than punching a guy without a mustache. But the science hasn't really been conclusive on that front. This dude we're going to have to take out with a dagger. This guy right here, though, we only have one dagger left. So, like, I don't know how I want to deal with him. I think I'm going to chuck another dagger at him right there and let him close that gap. And then, there's not really a whole lot of places I can move to right now to get out from underneath him. Like, I need to outspace him, but unfortunately, mathematically, there's no way for me to get out of this situation. So I'm just going to take a hit with my ghost HP. Nothing I could really do there. I walked myself into a corner, and that's the way that it goes. We haven't picked up any items or abilities yet, but there's one right there. So we're going to open that chest, and it looks like we got a sword. Now, there's not going to be any pop-up or any fanfare or any window or any dressing here to make it feel good to pick up items. There's no moment where your character's going to go da-na-na-na and pick up the weapon. There's no situation here where your character's going to pick up the weapon and you get like a Zelda style da-da-da-da. I think that should be a thing inside of the game. Maybe with like a little fire graphic throwing sparks or something, or like little beams of light coming up just to accentuate the fact that you just got a bonus and make it feel better. Then from there, when they hold it up, you know, a little window will come up and tell you what it actually does. For right now, you got to press the I key. That'll take you to this game's menu. And the sword right here, it looks like it removes the so it's the Holy Avenger. While the sun lights the land and the moon embellishes the night, no evil shall be free to hunt on the benign. It removes the unholy keyword. It concedes the holy keyword. No clue what that means, but we deal 3 damage against undead, so that's really good. I also think it would be nice, so for some items in this game, it actually does change the way that your character looks. In the case of this item, though, we don't really get any appearance change to it. Even if it's like a little holy aura around your feet, I'm a firm believer that details make games like this pop as hard as they possibly can. And taking a look at the ultimate game of popping as hard as it possibly can, you take a look at the Binding of Isaac, which I actually think this game shares a little bit of DNA with. There should be some kind of visual change for each item that you pick up inside this title. The items are rare enough, you usually only get 1 or 2 per floor, that I feel like the permutations and combinations right there, especially if you divide the character sprite out by different zones, you could get that in there and give the player a very nice feeling of visual progression, which is sorely lacking from this title because there is no armor, there are no weapons that you're going to be picking up along the way. You will always be using these daggers from the beginning of the game to the end of the game from what I've seen so far, but you get little bonuses that stack on top of them. Picking up that sword right there, it would be super cool. What is that? We picked something up. I don't know what we picked up, but we picked up something. It looked kind of like a key. It might have been a health potion or something that we couldn't freely use, in all fairness. Now, this is an item shop where if we have enough money, we could pick up like a secondary or a tertiary item that would make our character perform differently. Since we're broke right now, I'm going to go through the barrels and see if maybe I can pick up an extra $1. But nope, no dollar was forthcoming. People have been extra careful with their wallets on this map. We're dealing extra damage against the undead, which is really nice. I'm going to move over to here, and we're just going to chug that guy down, and I'm going to throw a dagger at him to finish it off. It must have been a potion that I picked up. All right, what's in this room? I just need money, and I'm greedy, so like, I'm okay with grabbing whatever I possibly can. My dagger doesn't make range on him, but that should be a fairly easy room to clear on out. Do I have a map that I can open up? Doesn't look like I have a map that I can open up. I would like to be able to click on this and have a window come up and be a full arrangement of all the rooms that are available. And then on top of that, one of my main complaints about this game is just that it doesn't play fast enough. What I mean by that is there is a considerable delay between pressing the arrow keys and when your character moves. Like, there's basically a cooldown, which means that once you've gotten rid of all of the enemies inside of a map, moving around just as you spamming the button waiting for the cooldown to come back up to get around. No. Make movement around individual rooms when there's no enemies available much smoother. Maybe even put the game on double times. Put that inside the options where you can play the game at 2x speed when out of combat. That would be really, really nice. And then from there, the ability to click on the map, have it become a big map, and then click on any room that you've already visited and cleared. That way you just teleport around. That would also be a very, very nice piece of quality of life. Now, from what I've heard, this game does have a ghost or something that chases you around if you stay on the map too long, but I've played 2 or 3 runs and I've never stayed on a floor long enough for that to matter. Let's go down a floor and we'll see what we can find down here. We got ourselves a big old rata. Okay, let's throw some knives at him until he dies because I don't want to be anywhere near him. And we'll start checking rooms in here. I'm going to kill this bat off right off the outset because this guy gets 2 moves for every 1 that I get. And so I just want to space the ground out and be as far from him as physically possible. Let's move over to this side. Break all these crates. Another piece of quality of life that I would love to see for this title is once all of the enemies are dead in a room. I got this from Escape from the Mad Empire, but I think this is a really good piece of quality of life. Anything that's breakable in the room, I should be able to just click on it. It should automatically break, and then all the items should come back to my character with no delay. So if there was like 3 barrels right here, I could just go click, 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 and all 3 of the items would go into my character. We do have some enemies to sort of brawl with for right now. They're not undead, which means it's going to take me 2 hits on each of them to kill them. I'm hoping I pick up an item that just increases my baseline damage. That's where I would like to be right now because I feel like we don't hit hard enough. We've got like an undead over there. Unfortunately, he's got the ability to shoot at me. I'm going to get trapped. I can smell it already. This room right here is always kind of a bitch to work your way through, just due to the fact that it's got that giant obstruction in the middle of it, and if you've got ranged guys on the field, it's just kind of a headache to deal with. Let's take down this slime right here. Losing 1 HP is not that big of a deal, and then we can finish him off with a knife throw. I'm going to come up here. We'll knife down one of those bats real fast. Knife him down so that we don't have to risk like moving around and getting greedy. Hey, there's another coin right there. Absolutely take that. Thus far, whenever I get coins, it's always just been 1 coin. I don't think I've ever seen the game drop multi-coin, but I would like to see the game drop multi-coin. I'm going to move over to here and just wipe you guys out with throws. Perfect. And we've got $7. I need to find a shop where I can spend a little bit of this guap, a little bit of this cheddar. We got another sword right there. We've got some kind of scroll on that side, and we've got a skull that's way too expensive for us to afford it. Rip a Roonies. I wish we could afford something right now, but we can't. All right, let's go to the right and see what we got over here. And it looks like there's a few more enemies on this side. I can knife him down right this second, so why not? We've got this bonus cruising for us right now as far as going up against the undead is concerned, and it just makes life easier. I have $8. I could buy something over here. Maybe I should. What's in this scroll right here? We got an ability. What does the ability do? Does it tactically make me more viable? So slot 3, we can teleport in a direction, dealing damage on the way there. Yeah, that'll be helpful. I'll take it. Escape doesn't close down menus in this game. It should. Any menu that's in the foreground, my muscle memory is so carefully tuned to just like hitting the escape key really fast in order to get out of situations that I'm in that I come to expect it, and I'm willing to bet that other people expect it as well. What's inside that chest? The skull that the shop had. What does the skull do? Let's find out. So the skull, hey, I was once a powerful wizard. Now I'm just a nihilistic flying head that want the bloody Baroness and her spouse dead, and I'm here to help you. Damage a random enemy in a 3-tile range after 10 turns. Does it go off by itself? Or is that like a thing I have to be in combat, right? Oh, but it actually holds the charge, so that's nice. That might actually be a useful supplementary opportunity. Okay. Well, we'll give it a try once we actually feel safe. I could try to go down south to do the rest of the dungeon and see if there's anything else down there, but since I don't have any time indicator that lets me know when the ghosty thing is gonna spawn, I think I'm just gonna keep it pushing. Now let's kill that guy off right there. We've got 2 slimes to deal with. Since I one-shot skeletons, I would like to stay one-shotting skeletons. I'm gonna move back this way. I'm gonna dash over to here, and then my teleporter moves me to right there. Is that adjacent to that guy? It's kind of hard to say. I may have screwed myself right here because that slime is unfortunately way stronger than expected. He had 3 HP, and I'm used to slimes having 2 HP. It also looks like the teleport uses up my entire turn, so I was hoping I would get another attack after I went through with it. So some experimentation is necessary here in order to figure everything out. We'll take you down real quick. Let me break these crates and see if we got anything inside of them. Crates were unfortunately very, very empty, so nothing we can pick up there. A lot of enemies on this side that we're going to have to figure out. No spell effect. You did see that, though. Our skull shot at him and killed him. I would have liked to have seen the skull actually have like a graphic or something for that, but with our +3 damage, I think we one-shot on these dudes, so that should make that fight pretty easy. Those bigger skeletons with the 2-handed swords, normally they take 4 damage to kill, which means that you almost always end up taking damage from them. They also have a dash attack that can be kind of a pain in the ass to deal with. What does the shuriken do? A fan of knives. Despite its form, this item is not suited to cool you down on hot days. User discretion is advised. After attacking an enemy, a dagger is thrown in a random direction. Now that right there, that's very, very useful. That sounds like something that would be good to have. Let's head north, and we'll kind of see what we can accomplish here. I'm cruising at half HP. I would like to be at higher HP. Unfortunately, we started out adjacent to enemies on this side. Just for the sake of comfort, I would say maybe don't have that. What did he just pick up? Did he pick up that dagger that was sitting right there? We do have a big slime down this way. So with you, let's say, oh, that's my dagger that gets thrown whenever I attack. All right, well, let's reclaim our weapons right there. He's going to attack, so I think what I'd like to do is I'm going to teleport over this way just to give me some breathing room. I don't know how much HP he has left because there's no indicator for it, but I will try to throw a knife at him. We've got our dash up and ready to go, so I can get back around. Grab that right there. Oh, he splits. How beautiful. Okay. Well, let's teleport over this way then. I'm going to grab a dagger from right there. I'm going to dash down, maybe... Did my dash not go off? Oh, I think my dash didn't go off. That's kind of unfortunate. All right, well, let's narrow down the field a bit. And unfortunately, my daggers are flying in directions that are not at all helpful right now. We'll continue upwards. We did make it out of that room without a bad scuffing, so anyone you walk away from is one that I'm willing to accept. A wide open field right there. I haven't seen what happens if you try to leave the room without your dagger, but I'm almost positive it'll probably just give you your dagger back, because having to play the rest of the game with one of your daggers down would be a massive handicap, although it would be kind of humorous. Let's carry on to the south and see what we got going on here. I'd like to get off this floor and find the exit before too long. We got carrots. We got no money. This is a recurring issue for me. Then I think the game is just a little bit stingy with cash as it stands right now, too, to the point where 90% of shops, I don't have enough money to do anything when I get there. Kill him off and step back that way. He got killed by our dagger getting thrown, so that's perfectly fine. Throw another one at him. Anything good this way? I don't know what that is, but it looks scary. Throw daggers at it, maybe? It looks like it's got a line attack that it does. Let's teleport over to here and see if we can get our dagger back. I think I'm going to have to dash that way to avoid his giant jumping bomb attack. Throw a few more at him, and we got to kind of hope that one of our mobility abilities comes back in off a cooldown. There's our mobility right there. Managed to save us, but I need to get a dagger back, unfortunately. We'll dash out of the way of that real fast. It did not give me enough of a window, though, that I can close here. There we go. Now I've got one of my daggers back. I had to burn both of my mobilities, unfortunately. before I would have liked to have done so. But it looks like he actually doesn't have a baseline melee attack that he can play us foul with. So it looks like I can be adjacent to him without getting punished, which is a really good thing because most enemies in this game punish the hell out of you for being adjacent. I think I'm going to stay away from throwing my weapons at him for right now. Let's teleport down to here. Step in on him. Step to there. Get like 2 more smacks off. Step over to here, get 2 more smacks off. I need his health bar to keep moving downwards. Okay, now we need mobility. Perfect. I'm going to step in on him again to repeat that pattern. And I think I've got him figured out now. We just need to make sure that we have mobility up and ready to run each time he does the big AoE. Perfect. I do like the camera action on the attacks right there. Move back over here. Move up to there. Okay, back over this way. And then step back into him. There we go. We got him back on the movement path that we wanted. And Big Boss... Oh, he splits. That's kind of wieners. Okay. Well, I find that to be a tiny bit concerning. But I think if I keep spacing him out just like this, I should be able to kill this one right here. I'm locked... Oh, there's more of them. Christ. Okay, move back this way. We may actually have a problem here. I'm going to dash across him real quick, and I took damage right there, which I would have preferred not to, but that's the way she goes sometimes. That guy's probably going to drop some more goobies on the ground. What did I just pick up? I picked up apparently nothing, so that's a little bit of a bummer. It's an ability. I was expecting to have a bank here where I could swap in and swap out abilities out of combat to come up with a build that I like, or maybe we picked up something that we already had, but this is kind of an oversight in the overall design of the game, in my opinion. When you pick up similar items, those similar items should stack and they should evolve and become like better versions of the thing that you want. Now, I'm going to have to take a hit here, I think. I think, though, if I can teleport down like so, there we go. I can get back around to my dagger. I'm not going to have to take a hit. That's good. But if you pick up similar items, it is my opinion that they should just kind of upgrade and get better, basically. So like I should get like an extra point of range on my teleport if that's the ability that I have 2 of, or an extra point of damage on it or something like that. As of right now, it doesn't look like it changed around the ability at all, which is a little bit of a bummer if I do say so. Let's go up. I don't know what world you would ever use that ability. Like, it doesn't appear to have much use. Like, that ability kind of sucks. So it basically makes you jump behind the enemy dealing 1 damage, which is less than the damage I would get because I have to be adjacent already, and I can get 2 damage right now just by staying where I'm at. I guess if you use it as an evac ability, like you're adjacently surrounded on 3 sides, you could get out and take 1 damage, but I'm having a hard time seeing the utility of Blink Slash. Since it does less damage than a normal attack, I really feel like it should do 2 instead, and then it would actually be a nice ability to have on hand. I might be making mistakes right here because he's going to split. Let's move them over to here. These have 2 HP, right? Okay, these have 2 HP. You don't get to see the enemy's HP either unless you're actively targeting them right this second, which I think is another mistake. I will probably come back up here, and I'm going to try to bait him around this corner so I can get a dagger back. Yeah, just go ahead and throw at him. Hey, we got 2 gold right there, though. That's really nice. I'll take 2 gold for sure. What's on this side? Just Skeletors? Okay. I'll probably just use this as mobility to get over to here. And I like fighting undeads because I am physically way stronger than the undeads because of the unholy extra damage thing that I picked up. Got a teleporter. Does it take us somewhere good or does it take us somewhere bad? Oh, nice, dude. We've got like a little dinosaur buddy. We got like our own personal Yoshi. What does he do? From ages long gone, this rare egg provides you with the best friend one could wish for. It gives you a dino friend that has 1 life, so we gain 1 life and gain 1 damage. Does he do anything to help us out on combat? I do like that we picked up an extra generic damage. Like, that's good. Interestingly enough, though, we only get that 1 bonus damage so long as we're armed. If we're unarmed, It's kind of like an upgrade or like a sharpening of our weapon, I guess. I'll take that. I do kind of want to buy something here, but I don't know what I want to buy. There's kind of like a green gemstone looking thing. I'll buy that. What does that do? Limestone. Holding this stone makes you feel stronger. You gain 2 range. Oh, cool. I can chuck my dagger further. Nice. I'll take it. Where was that boss at? Was he over here? Because he's the one that dropped the stairs. There's the stairs. All right, next floor. I'm just going to chop you up quick with my newfound damage. I'm feeling real confident at the moment. We're also hitting undead enemies for like 7 damage a swing, which is pretty sick. Well, bad news, the game froze up on me, and unfortunately it doesn't have a save function, which is really kind of like, really? In this modern day and age? Why would you not have a save function where each time you go into a room, it saves your game? Like, I get that it's a roguelike, but like little interruptions like this happen, and so it's probably to stop people from save scumming or whatever. But if that's going to be the case, your game needs to be technically proficient enough that it doesn't lock up on you from time to time when you're trying to play it. Kind of a bummer. I thought we had something going there, but I suppose we'll start over. But to my eye, as a guy that does sort of technical due diligence on games, basically that's what I do. I look at games and I point out liabilities and sort of fail points in the overall structure. There's like a few things that stand out here to me. I think the game at its core is pretty entertaining. I want that to be up front. One of the reasons why I don't really like Into the Breach is just that the game plays so slowly and there's so much time you spend sitting and staring at the screen being like, what is my chess-like move here that I can get myself out of this? This game actually avoids that. When you're trapped and you know it, and when you have options, the game is simple enough in its gameplay with either attack, throw, or move that you know what your options are, you know what you can do here. And there's not a whole lot of time spent staring at the grid. I actually kind of like that. I think I brought up the majority of my annoyances with the game, but first and foremost is just technical due diligence. No more crashes. My character got frozen right there, like the game wasn't receiving inputs from me. Another bug that I got a couple of times were that I would kill an enemy, and then items would fall outside the arena, and thus I would not be able to collect them. And that kind of sucks in a game where there's not a lot of options to get cash and items to begin with. This game very much drip feeds you both of those things. From there, I think the fundamental game is solid, but it needs to be sped up. Like a 2x mode would be really, really good here. And there's a lot of room for quality of life added on in, which I mentioned earlier in the video too. I'd like to see the players start with a lot less HP and instead have gear slots for helmets, armor, gloves, things that allow you to increase your HP and your soak within reason to get them up to where you actually start out at. I like that sense of progression and getting stronger when I play games, and I didn't really get that here. You do get items that make you hit harder and whatnot, but there's so little visual feedback from the game that you don't really feel it when it comes to the upgrades. Obviously, being able to bank and swap out abilities would be really good for creating builds room to room. Some more enemy variety would go a long ways. There's a lot of skeletons and slimes and bats, rats, but not a whole lot else. More tile sets, more doodads clogging up the halls, environmental events that can happen on different floors, like this floor is on fire, and the fire kind of moves around turn by turn, or at least creates more blockages. You know, this room has a frost spell on it, so when you step onto a frost tile, it slides you to the one on the opposite adjacent end. Items being shown on your characters in a Risk of Rain-like way. All of these things are little details and additions that make the game pop a little harder, and I think that's this game's thing, is that it does what it came to do admirably, but it needs to pop a little harder visually when it comes to the feedback that it gives players and the different permutations and combinations that can come in room to room. Items that trigger or cast abilities, they don't really have spell effects a lot of the time that jump off the screen. Things like your character going invisible. Your character doesn't actually go invisible, it just gives you 5 AP to move. And so, like, really, this is a game that just needs some more time in the oven to smooth out the presentational frosting, sprinkles, and decorations on what I found to be an otherwise pretty streamlined, entertaining cake, and then some bug fixing. Hopefully it gets there, but for right now, my name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were checking out a game called Dreadstone Keep. Tomorrow it'll be something else. That's all I got, folks, and take care.